Some good. Everybody's in that wants to be in. Or if we can tell. Call to order the regular meeting of the Wellington Board of Selectmen. In person and on Zoom, July 1st, 2024. You join me in the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of June 17th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of June 17th.
I second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Present to speak, public participation is encouraged. Speakers are limited by appropriateness, staying on topic and maintaining decorum. Time may be limited to maintain progress. Please request to reserve time during the meeting if you wish to speak to a specific agenda item. Doug, you have anything? Jim?
Good evening, guys. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, can you guys hear me okay now?
Yep, we sure can.
Okay, great.
Can you hear
Sorry,
us?
Jim Marshall, Fisher Hill Road. I just wanted to speak on behalf of the agenda item you have for dissolving the school building committee. I'll speak now if that's okay. I just wanted to say that given all of the uncertainty with the new information since the referendum related to the cost of school repairs and the fact that the school building committee is inactive, I'd ask you to do two things regardless of whatever happens. One, make sure that all of the school building committee work product remains very publicly available and accessible, both now and moving forward. And two, given that it's not really active in the uncertainties, I'd advise you guys to at least meet and discuss or give the Board of Education, the Capital Improvement Committee, and even the Board of Finance opportunities to all discuss where the school repair efforts may go. There's a lot of new information and a lot of unknowns as to how best to proceed. So, it seems unnecessary at this point in time, given the current state, but also advantageous to really do the due diligence and have the conversations about what to do about the schools community-wide before anything further happens. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Steph Summers.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I can't see you guys are really small on my display for some reason. I don't have a full camera there. I just wanted to talk about two items. One is the idea of hiring and training moderators for town meetings. This is something that I've heard come up many times, including in the preceding administration, and was always sort of dispensed with. So, I'm interested in that discussion and why it's coming up now. I will say that, of course, it's always good to have people trained and more adept at understanding Robert's rules and the other sort of inside needs for town meeting form of government. But I would urge you that if you're doing anything that's changing our policy, or making a selection process or anything like that, that you have a sort of nonpartisan committee or a bipartisan committee or whatever to kind of sit with that instead of setting up a process that excludes different groups. And I think it's really important to do this right if you are going to revisit it in a way that it's going to change the way we've done it up to now. So that's what I wanted to say about that. On the costing out of the referendum and gathering those figures on that agenda item, I'd just like to say that, of course, the Board of Finance will be interested in this because I brought it up at the meeting as something that we did not have as yet. I'm really hoping you can compile all costs inclusively, even if they are ones that are being sort of handled, being covered in other ways in the existing budget. It still would be good to know what the actual cost of everything, including printing ballots, running legal notices, uh, prov- you know, uh, writing materials for the voters to have, preparing extra documents on the budget, whatever. It would be really good to know what the cost is, other than staff time that, is already paid for those purposes. Thanks a lot. Oh, I should say 4Y Road, Shannon.
All right. Yeah, Steph, there was, we were just beginning the discussions on moderators and why we're bringing that up, but, there was no indication that we were gonna exclude anybody. That would be, antithetical to our form of, government here. Nick?
I guess I'm saying, Pete, that maybe think beyond, if you're going to have a group revisit our policies for how we've done it, think beyond the Board of Selectmen to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of this is controlled by state statute, so it's
Okay.
not, it's already beyond the Board of Selectmen.
Okay.
Nick?
Hey, Nick Tella, 49 Myrtle.
Go ahead. Can you hear us?
You guys muted me. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right. So referendum hours, cost of analysis. It was a topic I brought up before that I have concern that we're limiting hours of people when they can go and vote for what, $300-400, whatever that's going to be determined. Either way, we're a town that says we don't get people to come out and vote, but yet we had limited the hours last time. Now, I also wrote down FOIA status. So I'm not sure where things are there. I talked to Russell Blair about that in another matter the other day. I would like and hope to get this resolved soon. I understand that the lawyers may be being a little difficult, but please, hopefully. And do you happen to have any status that you can share?
I don't have a status. It's not that they're being difficult, it's that they're being slow. And I'm hoping to move them along on that. It's just that my leverage is not what I would hope it would be, and I would hope to move that along as soon as I can. I too would like to clear that up as soon as possible.
Yeah,
We're
because
on the same side of the fence on that one.
yeah, because the ruling was for 2 weeks, and I've given almost more than 2 months. So, there's to give. So obviously, this is a Board of Selectmen meeting. I just want to bring up conduct amongst boards that I have concern that came up. This happened with the library board, but I speak on behalf of any board should not be conducting itself in this manner where we had a situation where 4 out of 6 board members had attended a caucus, and technically and legally that is correct. But basically having a board meeting hidden under the terms of a caucus, which would have, in this situation, had 4 out of 6, but there was a 5th member that was invited. So not only does that exclude myself, but more importantly, it excludes the public. Sure, that matter is with the library board, but no board should be conducting, Republican, Democrat, it doesn't matter. These meetings should be held in the official capacity that they are, and people in the public should be able to attend. Again, it doesn't matter what party or what board. But to give you guys a heads up, I just got email maybe about 15-20 minutes ago. Library is a hot mess right now. There's currently no director or co-director running the library, as I've been just made aware about 15 minutes ago, or half hour ago.
All right.
So
Thank you. I don't mean to cut you off, but we do have to get back to Board of Selectmen business. And, if you'd like to stop by, I found some statutes that apply to that. So I'm willing to discuss them with you.
Cool. Thank you.
Anybody else? Seeing no more hands raised. Thank you, all for your input. Correspondence, the only correspondence I have is we received, information from the Connecticut State Police. If you've been keeping up with pistol permits, there's been a change in the law effective today, where you're required to have some Connecticut legal education along with handgun education. And for the first time, as of today, I believe, they will be taking MasterCards and Visas. You have to pay an extra 3%, so you're covering the cost. And the state isn't, but there, if you need more information on what to do for your first your temporary permit from the town and then your permanent permit from the state, you can stop by and see Shannon in the selectman's office. Public Works report. Let me see, that's on this page. That's not, Public Works, this is Public Works, sorry. Public Works Department has been, continuing their mowing and filling in potholes. They did have some waterways that it needed to be cleaned out due to the excessive rains. They've been doing the standard vehicle and equipment maintenance and repairs. Due to washouts, they've paved washouts along road edges to keep people on the road. They've prepped roads for, chip sealing. They cleaned out the catch basin tops. They've extended the soccer field at Hall School. They've graded the road and raked sand for the beach at Hall's Pond in preparation for the season opening. Chip sealing began today for Batty, Baxter, and Clover. And I believe they also got Common Road today, even though it was supposed to be completed tomorrow. And then we've got Crosco Grove and Gravanek roads that will also be chip sealed. The end of the year chip sealing. First Selectman status report. I think that was under old business. Move this to old business. First, I'd like to move that we change add to the agenda under item 10, meeting times. Do I hear a motion? I move it.
Motion to change, discuss moving Board of Selectmen meeting times.
Okay, second. Second that. All right, any discussion? No, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the CEN contract, that's for our internet access to the building. When they first came to CEN as the Connecticut Education Network, they're the ones responsible for all the fiber optic cable for municipalities. When they first installed it, they couldn't get permission to put the fiber on the poles from center school to here. They've since been able to do that and have offered us a grant of 100% to install it. I believe we're gonna have to pay a $35 maintenance fee for at least 20 years on that, which still comes out to way less than the cost of installing fiber, plus they fix it. So I've got it approved by we've spoken about this before, I believe. I've had it approved through the lawyers and Novus, our IT people. And right now I'm just waiting for the final contract page to sign it through their online signature.
What will the benefits be for that?
It'll take out the point of failure. Right now, we're shooting microwaves from Hall School, no, from Center School to the fire department. And the cost of, we just had one hit by a power surge. And the cost of replacing the receivers was essentially the same as 20 years of the 20 years of maintenance on this new system. Desk phones, the desk phones in the town hall, we're looking to update them. The current system uses a server at, I believe, Center School for all the town and all the education. And it needs an upgrade that costs a lot of money right now. So, and we're holding off on that until we explore some VoIP solutions, some other solutions. So I'm gonna be looking into that. I've also got Novus working on that to see what we can do.
Voice over internet for telephone service?
Yeah.
I don't know the first thing about telephone service, but I would be interested in staying as basic as possible on that to enhance reliability rather than.
Yeah, the reliability we have now is third poor.
Okay.
And you can't get POTS service, and that's the most basic. And there is no more POTS, so right now for reliability, we may be far more reliable on voice over IP.
Okay.
We don't know yet. We need to do a study. We need to look into it at the very least. What else do I have? Oh. We also I think this may also come under old business, but we discussed it and I was gonna bring it up again. We tabled it from last meeting to this meeting. The multi-jurisdictional shelter agreement. We do have the money set aside for that already. And we are the last town in the region. All the other towns have already signed on. So we need to get that approved, so I like a motion, I don't know.
Last time we talked about, well, you make a motion, but.
Yeah.
Last time we talked about having Stuart come to the board of selectmen,
Oh,
discuss the need for that, what the costs are. And how we would.
Yeah.
manage that whole process.
all right, let's put that, oh, you're not gonna be here next meeting.
No, not that, well, it's okay, I mean, there's
All right.
nothing to do about that, vacation, you guys.
That's-
can do it.
We can handle it. Let's put that on the agenda for next meeting and we'll have Stuart come in. You could also note that we need Stuart to show up, all right? And I believe that's all I have for this current status. Anyways, so let's move on to new business. Item A, dissolve the school building committee. We heard from, Mr. Marshall on that,
Right, I'm curious about what Jim was saying about reporting out and who would be responsible for reporting out? It certainly wouldn't be. That would have to come from the education side, right? Aren't they the ones that are gonna be holding that information?
Well,
I mean,
that, all the information currently from the school building committee, all of it is already at available for public.
No, I know, but I mean, now,
At the
when he
town
was
clerk's
saying
office.
that whatever's happening with the school and what it's cost and what the progress is.
Right,
That's,
that would be
that's not
coming
our- that's
from,
not our purview.
that would be coming mostly from the board.
It has to come from the board. of Ed,
Right.
Even if it's reporting to you
Right,
or to this body.
also. And I will be checking into this, but I am pretty sure this was what was decided, from, Mr. McCoo. was that we cannot dissolve that committee as the Board of Selectmen. The committee was created by town meeting. And I believe that the committee dissolved itself because the charge of the committee was that it would be dissolved upon completion of their final report, and their final report was filed. I thought I heard somebody, but I guess not.
You did, I mean, with them.
Oh. That was vicious. So I believe that committee has been dissolved, but the entire report and their final findings are on file at the town clerk's office and available for whoever wants to see it.
Available on the website, to the school website.
Is it? I didn't look, so I can't say that it's there. Is it there?
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I don't know. Should check.
Anyway, so I know there's a lot coming up. The Board of Education was meeting with the superintendent and members of the state representatives from both the Education Committee and our local representatives to see what they could do moving forward with state aid. So,
Well, so for progress, do we ask that project, do we ask the Board of Education to ask that project manager for progress reports? Is that the protocol?
This is a big issue for our town moving forward. It's one of the most expensive things we do in the next decade.
Right.
I would like to be able to think that we have at least some small amount of input into, or just
Right.
knowledge of what's going on.
Right, I would hope that we would get that information too. And the people who need the information most would be the Board of Finance
And people.
and the people.
But I wonder if there's no obligation expressed or implied for anyone to do that, it probably won't happen, so
I mean,
I wonder how we can encourage those reports to be regular and. I don't know.
I don't know.
I truly am thinking aloud, as I hadn't thought about it before, but Jim brought it up, and he was sort of charging us. That was, but it's not really it's not our lane, it's not our lane.
I think that we should
I'm not
should at least
advocating
ask that the Board of
I guess,
Keep
yeah.
us informed.
Alright, that sounds fair.
So I don't
Ask at a
think
meeting.
we cannot dissolve it because it's not ours to dissolve, it's the town's. B, need for trained town meeting moderators. Did you have this was an item that you asked to have.
I'd like to see if, I know that I've been to several town meetings and we always use the same people over and over again, and I just think that it would be a good idea, prudent. To expand the pool a little bit, maybe possibly, to have unbiased people run our town meetings. I think would be helpful. Rather than, what if, Suzanne does it, you do it, Pete. I just think that'd be helpful if we had some more
Right.
folks. So I was just thinking that maybe we put it out there to the town. If you want to become a moderator, we can refer, I guess, to the elections department would be probably the right place to go. They would probably know how that works.
I started looking into this today after I talked to you, and we found some formal education in being a moderator for elections.
Yeah.
I know that Christine and Suzanne have taken that training. Specifically for town meetings, however, we haven't found any good training yet. We did find a guideline for moderators for town meetings that was prepared for Easton, Connecticut, this June, like 5 days ago, and it's been put online. So,
Easton.
yeah, I have yet to. Can I go around?
Yep.
Yeah. You might end up on camera. So I haven't been able to review what's been in here. I skimmed it and it looked like good information. So if anybody's interested in being a moderator and wants to get the information, we'll see what we can find for you.
Is it on the town of Easton website or?
Where, I don't. My lovely assistant over here found it, and
Okay.
I don't know where she found it, but she printed it for me,
Oh, nice.
so.
Good luck.
She is good like that.
I will find it and I will email it to you.
Okay, I would, again, I don't want you to go out of your way.
Um. So, I believe that what we need to do is we need more people to
Yes.
be prepared to be moderators, but I'm modifying this with the phrase, I believe. That how town moderators is chosen has always been up to those attending the town meeting. And, I understand the desire to not be partisan, but most of the people who show up to town meeting are there because they have feelings one way or another about whatever the topic is.
Yeah.
I talked to Christine earlier and she suggested that maybe that we find some way to compensate town meeting moderators, and that we might get some people that are nonpartisan to show up and be moderators. This is something that we're gonna have to look into, but like I said, it's, a lot of this is done by state law, so. I spent way too much time today reading section 1 of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Thank you for doing that.
But you bring up a good point, they have to, they are the ones that attend the meeting.
They are the ones that
And
attend.
if they don't, then
It's hard to be a moderator if you're not there.
Moderator if you're not there.
Oh, also, when it comes to moderators in town meetings, while we're on the topic. We do have some ARPA money left in one of the accounts for meeting room, technology. And I'm looking to, see if we can find some way to record town meetings at the old town hall. And make them available on YouTube like everything else.
That would be wonderful.
I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
I just don't know if we can do it, we've got, Kevin Ikart and Jonathan, whose last name I don't know, looking into it.
Cause it would free up other venues for public
Yeah,
meetings, so it'd be kind of nice to have that.
We may not have other public meetings there because you'd have to have somebody from the town with a laptop, and I'm not sure whether we need internet connectivity, and we don't have it over there. So there's a number of issues where we need a standalone system, so I'm not exactly sure how this is gonna work out, but the upstairs meeting room is now open again for, public meetings. And, it's all set up, and it's cool and dry, because the air conditioning.
Excellent.
Referendum hours, moving on, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to change topics that quickly. Referendum hours cost, analysis. The pledge of referendum voting statistics are out, I just emailed it to you probably after you got here. So it should be, all these statistics should be in your inbox when you get out of here. But, voter turnout by party, 26% of, as I read this, 26% of the voters were Republican and 25.9% of the voters were Democratic. And the other 16.7% were unaffiliated. So our voters that are registered with a party turned out much better than our unaffiliated voters. Because a majority of the registered voters in town are unaffiliated. By age, it's mostly people 41 to 80 that voted. And we don't have any voters over 100 anymore, which is sad. It's broken down by voters per hour, etc. And then for the breakdown by cost. Second referendum cost, it cost $2,120 for personnel. We had to notice the town meeting, that was $739.89. The cost of notifying the vote, part of the referendum was $285. And we saved almost $200 on personnel by knocking off the first 2 hours. And so that comes out to about, I think if I did the rough math right, about $16 per vote if we had opened up. I understand that talking to people, that there are people that say cost per vote and that kind of thing doesn't make any difference. We need to open up as much as we can, make sure people can vote. However, I do know that if you can't, if the only time you could vote was between 6 AM and 8 AM, the absentee ballots were available for people. So nobody was cut out of voting by having a 12-hour vote instead of a 14-hour vote. That's just my feeling on it.
How many voters did we have? So we don't know how many people tried to vote and couldn't.
Right, because we didn't have the people here.
Do we ask the elections department how many people typically vote between 6 and 8 AM in the morning?
Yeah, it's between 12 and 20.
12 and 20.
Yeah.
So
In those 2 hour
yeah,
periods.
the feedback I got, was about 7 people, that's 100% negative, and they would like to see us expand voting back. 6 AM to
Yes,
8 PM. No one said good idea.
Right.
Or
I also didn't see a lot of volunteers to get up at 4:15 in the morning and come work the polls either. I've had 0 people come up to me and say, you know what would be a good idea is if I came in and got up at 4:15 in the morning and came in and worked the polls. I've had 0 people,
Are we
even,
so how many
Suggest-
volunteers do we have?
we don't have any volunteer, I believe all of our poll workers are paid minimum wage.
So why aren't we talking about when not people are volunteering?
Well, we don't have any people saying I'm willing to work for minimum wage for those hours either.
Okay.
And I think that the people that are working the polls are. They're not. You know, they don't wanna get up that early, I know I don't.
So is it cost savings or is it people not being able to fill their positions for opening the poll between 6 and 8 AM?
We could fill the positions by saying, we are gonna do this and then having our registrars go out and find. So. I do know that they don't have a lot of people. Willing to work the polls, period. I used to do it.
I remember.
It's not. Not something you do for fun, you do it because you feel you need to do it for the town. We have. The appointment motions. I'm taking that look to mean no.
I have them on the. Under new business, I don't have the exact wording.
We can,
It was the same as I moved to,
Yeah, I think we have to have a begin date and end date to that motion.
I wasn't, yeah,
Uh.
want me to run upstairs and see if I have it in my email.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Nope,
so you can't just say.
You can't,
I
you
mean,
can't,
appoint,
no, cause
has
I,
to be
you have
for
to,
a time.
right, you have to be for a period of time.
Okay.
We have old business that we can move to.
Yeah, I just didn't want to do that with the secretary gone. So
Right.
I think we're gonna pause here for a moment.
Talk amongst
We can
yourselves.
talk amongst yourselves. We can talk to Mr. John. How's it going, Mr. John?
Just delivered the goats, but I made it here anyway.
The goats. Oh, the goats are back here.
Goats are back.
Do they eat bittersweet?
They'll eat just about anything but milkweed and golden.
I had a lot of that goldenrod.
Are you gonna come and steal them and take them up to your house?
Yeah, I've always wanted a pet goat. My wife said no.
You know, the better than the bittersweet, they also eat poison ivy.
Yeah, yes,
That's
wonderful.
That's the big one.
I heard that's their favorite.
It is, I love it.
Imagine, not me. How about you, Bob? You probably dealt with your share of poison ivy over the years.
Yeah, no, I try to stay away from poison ivy.
It's hard, it's getting harder and harder to do so. It's a
Yeah,
problem,
it's-
huge leaves.
Oh, yeah.
I think we should get goats too. I'd like to get goats. Wouldn't have to weed whack as much.
I've got a stone wall that's been taken over by bittersweet.
I do enjoy all those videos of the rabbit goats. When you see them, they go in like in 2 weeks. These overgrown pastures are just cleaned right up. It's kind of fun.
Well, now they found that,
Are you able to locate it?
putting
Yep.
sheep
Excellent.
and solar arrays is the easiest way to
Yes.
keep that,
Yes,
clean.
yeah.
Oh.
They provide shade and everything. They get a lot of, seems to be a very symbiotic relationship.
Okay, let's hear a proposed motion for reappointing Don Berg as a member of the Wellington Housing Authority.
August 2nd, 2024 to August 1st, 2029.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Don Berg, the regular member, or to appoint Don Berg as a regular member of the Wellington Housing Authority for a term from August 2nd, 2024 to August 1st, 2029.
Second,
I second that.
okay, you second that?
No, you second it. I got it.
I read all the minutes and thank you, Mr. Berg, for volunteering.
Yes.
It's really good.
Good.
Mhm.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Unanimous? Same dates for Brenda Sullivan?
7/1/24 to 6/30/25.
I can make a motion to reappoint Brenda Sullivan as secretary for the Wellington Housing Authority for a term from July 1st, 2024 to June 30th, 2025.
I second that.
Any discussion?
No.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Unanimous?
Thank you.
Thank you for volunteering. I would like to move, we reappoint Janice Clausen as our tax collector from 4/11/24 to 4/10/20,
4/12/24
4/12/24
to 4/11/28.
to 4/11/28.
Yes.
Janice has been doing an outstanding job for us. The reappointment is ended at that date because at the time she was not certified. She is now certified. So,
I
Do I-
second that.
you seconded it? Any other discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, unanimous.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janice. Particularly this year. All right, moving on to old business. I would like to move that we move our regular meeting times for the same dates that have already been approved from a starting time of 6 o'clock to a starting time of 6:30.
I'd like to second that.
Okay. Any other discussion?
No.
with, along with, Matt's enthusiastic second, all in favor? Aye. Okay. That sounded unanimous.
Sure did.
Which brings us back to present to speak.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, I don't know if this needs to have to be voted on, but we talked about, I think, did you have was there a meeting with Sergeant Tucker?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. That was under, state police report, which we have not received the statistics, have we?
Nope.
We haven't received the statistics, but I have met with Sergeant Tucker, our new liaison from Troop C.
Yeah.
I've got his email address. He seems pretty responsive to the emails I've been sending him. I had a list of topics that I wanted to discuss with him, including. I believe it was Ralph that brought this up, to separate out the statistics for I-84. And he was not sure that could be done, but he would look into it.
Even if it's on 84, it's included. If it's not on 84, it's not.
Well, if it's on 84 in Wellington, it's included in our total statistics, but whether they can separate out those incidents or not, it depends on how the way their computer aided dispatch is set up is with location codes. And if I-84 in Wellington doesn't have a separate location code than the rest of Wellington, then they have to go through each statistic for their entire,
How many do we get? How many are there?
a couple hundred a month.
Really?
Yes, because that's
I was gonna volunteer to look at each one, but I don't think I'm gonna do that now.
yeah. It has, and it breaks down from everything from, I need I locked my dog in the car to, the woman that was doing 117 down I-84 last
Right.
week.
Right.
So you got, and so I've asked them if we could, separate out the A felonies. Those are the, life in prison felonies.
Right.
And, death penalty felonies, and whether they could, separate out, untimely deaths.
Yep.
And, he's looking into that as well.
So, and then the other things that I had written down, Pete, I don't know if I should,
Go ahead.
one was the Mansfield shelter thing, so we'll get Stuart in here, right?
We'll get Stuart in here,
And
yes.
then, there was something about, which I'm curious about, I don't quite understand. I think in our last meeting, we talked about the steep grant, and we can't apply for our steep grant for the Boy Scout thing until.
Until we spend the steep grant on the old town hall.
All right, and do we know anything about, I'm unfamiliar, I apologize, so,
With how that's going.
yeah.
Here's how it's going. I've talked to Carl, our engineer. He has designed the whole thing. He has submitted it to Eastern Highlands Health District. We need to submit it to them because we are crossing a property line where we own both sides of the line, but that doesn't seem to matter to the Eastern Highlands Health District. They need to pass a pipe underneath Common Road, I believe it is at that point.
Okay.
The road that goes
Yeah,
between the
yeah.
green. The septic tank will be sitting on the town hall side, and the whatever field that is,
Leach
leach
field.
field, will be sitting on the town green side. So they gotta get a pipe across. The way with the current use of the old town hall, I'm not sure how much that leach field is gonna be used, but during high impact times, we don't want the old, what's that thing called? The cesspool
Yeah,
back up.
something to do.
Yeah, that would be bad. That's a scientific definition, bad. So it's been submitted. And we're waiting for Eastern Highlands to give us the go ahead. And then Troy and Carl will be getting bids. And we should have more than enough money in that to that steep grant to pay for that. And to fix one or two small things in the old town hall, like there's a broken window. And then maybe even a door for the back part. We'll see what we can do about that, depending on how much money is left over. And then we can apply for another steep grant. I just had Troy start, working around the Boy Scout hall. I asked him to do it today. I'm not sure when he's gonna get to it, but he's gotta bring in the. Big mower, brush mower for that, to get chopped through the vegetation and. See where we're at with that, then get an evaluation of the building.
Good. May I add to that a little bit?
Sure.
Just talking with Troy today, there will be unfortunately those 3 maple trees that are, if you're looking at the town hall, there's 3 fairly large maples. On the left side that will have to come down in order to facilitate the new septic system.
We're losing trees in
Yeah,
Connecticut.
they're not in fact, I mean, they're old, so
I'm old.
they're nice.
Can we replant them?
We certainly can replant,
Wait a minute, you're the arborist, aren't you?
is that?
You're the arborist.
I'm not an arborist, no, I'm a tree warden, I'm not a licensed arborist. But certainly, yeah, no, certainly.
I think we need to be careful with that because we don't want tree roots in our.
Right, you
septic
don't
system.
generally want trees too close to your septic system, but,
Okay, got it.
I will be posting a notice, public notice of tree removal. They're covered in poison ivy, so I'm not gonna put them on the tree themselves. I am gonna put them on a small sign saying these 3 trees, because they're literally are covered in poison ivy, so. I'm not
I
gonna,
know somebody with a goat.
yeah, right, maybe we should rent a goat, that actually would be pretty awesome.
I don't know that we have the budget for that.
There's probably some money.
Office supplies.
Awesome.
It's our office goat.
So. Was there anybody from present to speak now that I stepped all over that? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So Bob Shabbat, 17 Jared Sparks Road. Just like to kind of get it out there that there's a tricentennial committee. And we've been meeting for a few months now. Our tricentennial 300th anniversary of Wellington is 2026. And we're
Is it
planning
2026 or 2027?
2027, excuse me.
Better.
Thank you. So we're trying to get a leg up on that. And to this point, what the group is looking at are small, multiple venues, tours of the ancient some burying grounds, maybe.
Is that the one on Cemetery Road or is that a different one?
Oh,
Just-
Cemetery Road, well,
Okay.
there's several, but, you know, there's a number of, ancient stones from the 1700s and most of the cemeteries, the larger cemeteries. And we're looking at a possible house tour, we're looking at having somebody come in and, talk about the, gravestone carvings. Maybe a couple tours of South Wellington. Our thoughts right now is to get people engaged in our history. We're not talking about a parade, we're talking about things that touch closer to our history. And of course, we're still looking for more people to come out and get involved. I know I'm preaching to the choir right now. It's hard to get new singers to come out. But the one thing that we don't want to have happen is we get to the 300th anniversary, we go through everything and somebody says, well, how come you didn't do?
Right.
So, right now, small venues, some of them we're talking about multiple times during the year, maybe one in the spring, one in the fall. So people have multiple opportunities. If something is on their calendar, when it happens the first time, they might be able to catch it the second time. And we're starting to talk about what the cost of these are. So, you know, that's where we stand right now. Now, anybody out there?
Yeah, I was hoping to talk to either, probably to Jimmy about funding. And
Yeah,
I think the town has some funding, but I gotta clear
Yeah.
that first, so.
Well, celebrating the 300th is.
Right.
It's going to be it's a business situation. And the people, if we bring people in for expertise to give these presentations, there's costs involved.
Yep.
And some of these people are not going to be from Wellington. So,
On that grounds, I just got a memo from this hasn't been cleared through the cemetery association yet. So we haven't scheduled it, but the Connecticut Natural History Museum, has written and asked if they could do a tour of the old cemetery on Cemetery Road on Halloween, because apparently vampires?
there's
Yeah.
there's two recorded situations of quote unquote vampires.
And the state wanted to do a tour of the cemetery at night on Halloween and talk about vampires, so we're still working on that.
Yeah, well, and that's something we could probably work into the
Right,
300.
I did not know
Anniversary.
Wellington was famous for its vampires.
Well, not really famous for it. There's other towns that are more so.
Okay.
What the Hill Cemetery is famous for is the collection of notable carved gravestones. That have the various carvings of the wings and the skulls on the headstones. So, interesting. We'll try to highlight that for our 300, so people will understand superstition better from the 17th and 1800s.
Because understanding that means we don't repeat it. Hopefully.
Hopefully, with superstition. What's that?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
And we're
Go
done.
ahead, stir the pot.
And we're done.
And we're done. All right, anybody else for present to speak? Seeing none,
Well, when should I talk about firehouse stuff?
No, wait.
go ahead.
Sorry, I was waiting for anybody else. Oh, Steph is on. I just want to say that I am, Christine Sothis, Jared Sparks Road. I'm pleased that the selectmen are beginning a conversation regarding a trained moderator. Having someone who is trained, who knows Robert's rules, who will run a meeting according to Roberts, will greatly benefit Wellington. I've kind of been advocating this with past administrations. So I am very interested to see where this goes with you folks. And I hope that there, will come to some fruition. As Peter mentioned, I also do think that this should be a compensated position. I guess that's all I have to say about that. But about the second referendum, just a couple comments. Even though the voting hours were reduced a bit, turnout was much greater than the first referendum. So I was quite pleased to see that. Also, I think the highest turnout that day, and Suzanne can correct me, I believe it was between the hours of 6 and 7 p.m. So folks were coming out in the evening. Again, Peter, you might have that in all of that information that Suzanne had given to you.
The other hours that were big was from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. right before lunch. And I have a feeling it was closer to lunch.
So again,
Sorry.
thumbs up on beginning this conversation to get and to pursue having somebody trained as a moderator. Again, I'm going to be interested in seeing what you folks can do on this. Thank you.
Steph? Stephanie?
Muted.
Everybody is.
Can she unmute or?
Yes.
Oh,
Can you
there
hear me
we go.
now?
Can hear
Okay.
you now, can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. Steph Summers, 4Y Road. So thank you for that clarification on the issues that you did in your discussion. I agree that we should look at that role of moderating town meetings as something that has a fee attached to it for a couple of reasons. One is, I think if you just cast the net and ask for volunteers, you may or may not get people who have the skill sets for that kind of work. I think it takes a sort of special set of skills. I've seen some people do it really well, and others that kind of fumble around with it a little bit, both because they don't know Robert's rules at all, or they just feel uncomfortable with the role. But I do want to, this is kind of good in welfare, I guess, but I do kind of want to give a shout out to Suzanne, because when she served that role, and she did that in the last meeting that had to do with going to the second referendum on the budget, she did a really good job of outlining the way she was going to conduct it so that people weren't really surprised by the process. And one of the things she said is, I want to hear from everyone who has something to say. And then she was careful not to let people like keep grabbing the mic while others were still yet to speak. So I admire that, because she made it clear. And as I think, as far as the manner of the room, it was much more professionally conducted, I thought. So there's that, but also I just think, you're not just, I just want you to have in mind, when you ask someone to moderate a town meeting, you're not just asking them to get up and, perform and do this service for the town. You're, which I think does deserve to be paid. You're also taking them out of the running for participating as an elector in the town, if there's someone in the town. And, I think that's one of the reasons you don't get volunteers all the time, because a lot of people at the meetings want to participate in the issues. And you can't really do that as moderator. So I think it's real important to I also think it would help you all in planning these meetings. And sometimes they're not planned, and there's not that term of when one is called and when one happens. You kind of need a bench of folks that you could call on to come, and whatever night it's going to be or whatever date it's going to be, without disrupting the town process and the speed of trying to do appropriating money or dealing with an issue that's kind of hot or whatever. Back to Suzanne. I also wanted to shout out to her, because a very difficult night when there were hearings about the proposed warehouse. I thought she did an exemplary job in a very volatile setting. It was really, people kind of butting in, people like trying to hold the floor forever. A lot of trickiness there that I just don't know too many people being able to handle that deftly. So I wouldn't mind seeing people like her compensated, as well as whatever new volunteers who want to go through some training would draw from it. But I think we're definitely at a point where we should look at that seriously. Thanks.
Thank you.
By the way, they also put together hour by hour numbers on the first referendum turnout, and they already had the data. And I think this, Pete, because I believe you were one of the ones who was kind of suggesting that we maybe carve those early morning hours off for a couple reasons. One is it was the lowest yield in voting according to that data, which I had looked at, and it was also I'm sorry, I forgot the second part of my point, but it was a low turnout number, but it was also, I mean, like Christine said, the turnout overall was, I think it went from 16. No, it was more than 20. It was more like almost 22. It was 21.7 or something like that, wasn't it? So it was quite a jump.
21.7.
Yeah. So that's 6 points. I mean, 6 percentage points. So, you know, anyway, thank you.
Mhm. The numbers are, and voting statistics, I'm sure you can talk to our registrars and they will give it to you.
John Blessington, 29 Mason Road, however, I would point out that once upon a time, long ago, voting hours started at 8 AM. And it was moved back till 6 AM on the premise that if one person couldn't get their, or only one person had to vote at 6 AM, it was worth opening it up. And now, we're saying, oh, not too many people voted and they won't be able to vote, that's okay. I still think that was a bad.
I don't think anybody said that they're not being able to vote is okay. They are able to vote. They're able to vote absentee. So, but your point is taken.
Nobody knew that.
Nobody
You
knows
didn't
the vote
advertise
absentee.
that.
Anyways. We will advertise that in the future because I believe that at all referendums and elections, there's absentee ballots.
There are, but for the average person who expected to come out and vote at 6 o'clock, he doesn't know that about the absentee thing, he doesn't do it.
I had no idea you could vote absentee in a referendum. I didn't know.
Right.
News to me.
Anyways. I'm not seeing any more hands, so I'm moving on to good and welfare.
Yay.
Thursday is July 4th. We're celebrating the independence, the Declaration of Independence. The 250th anniversary of the United States is coming up. The year before our 300th anniversary of our town. I'm hoping everybody comes back on Friday with 10 fingers, so please be careful.
We're not open on Friday.
We're not open on Friday, so, but the fire department is. Is there anything else?
Good and welfare.
Yes.
Careful out there. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Good luck on vacation.
Thank you.
Anything from you?
Yes, I would like to talk a little bit about firehouse stuff, the Emergency Services Building Committee. The first thing is, I'm gonna ask that the Board of Selectmen or the Selectmen's Office submit a letter to our state reps, Tammy Lucio, Jeff Gordon, asking about how we can acquire the land in front of Station 13. For those that don't know, the Station 13 on Route 32, the land right in front of that is owned by the state. When they moved Route 32 those many years ago, they just moved the road over closer to the river, and that land in front of the firehouse where the flagpole is. The flagpole is actually on state of Connecticut land. Some time ago, the state offered to sell it to the town, and now they didn't want to at the time. I don't know why. But we would, that there have been conversations through the efforts of members of this emergency services building committee with our state representatives, and they need a formal request from the town in order to move forward. So I don't know what that letter would look like or draft. I think it could be fairly simple language, plain language. And it just has to be an official letter. Second, I know time is getting short. We toured the buildings, the committee toured the buildings. We are discussing now about the needs of fire, of what sort of structures are needed in order to maintain current levels of emergency service protection and also future levels. We talked about the new complex that's going up where colloquially known as Holiday Mall used to be in stores, and how many apartments are there now. There's been several proposals over the last few years about various apartment and over 50 complexes in Wellington, some across from Baxter Road. There are some, large landowners in town that will likely be thinking of developing some of their properties in years to come, and it would probably be some type of housing or commercial structures. Either way, our emergency services has to be able to prepare for that. So as we look at facilities and what is necessary, we are thinking of just future, not just immediate Band-Aid types of approaches. To that, we are going to be asking with this, we did pass a motion and was approved that we're gonna ask for, probably it's gonna be around $75,000 for a temporary dwelling unit at Station 13. So that station can be fully functional while it's decided what is going to happen to that. The building can be used for housing equipment, but not personnel. That 75,000 would be probably somewhere between 40 or 50,000 for the unit, the dwelling unit itself. And we're just guessing at another 25 for installation, permitting, all that. We will also be asking for about $1,000 to do a call service map of where our current calls, types of calls are being, where the stations are responding. So we can have that information for us. And we might be asking for $500 to do a internal to find out where the drainage pipe goes. There used to be some sort of a storm drain in front of Station 13 that was paved over when Trask Road was widened and the parking lot was redone for the fire station. And that is causing some of the water to back up into the fire station, which caused the mold in the first place. So there's services you can hire that can send robotic units up and then trace the top of the pipe and then they can find it. I did speak with our Director of Public Works today. He may be able to get that done in other ways, but if he can't, we may have to hire an outside firm to do that. Public Works can do the actual excavation and stuff, but to actually find the pipe. And that's all I got. Thank you.
Can we, would it be possible, can we just put, under whole business for all of our meetings, the fire department?
If you wish.
Thanks.
Shannon, so noted.
That'd be helpful, that'd be helpful. Good.
All right, and I will work. I will work with Shannon and yourself and maybe a member or two of the committee on drafting that letter.
Okay, yeah,
Figure
sure,
that out.
yeah, that'd be nice.
That should not be a problem. Okay,
I did have a question for Bob. Is there any contact that if people have some interest in the tricentennial? Is there?
if they get a
place
place
to
to
go?
go, Callahan, Parks and Rec.
Okay,
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec is the
Yeah,
place to
Parks and
go.
Rec is
Is the-
the chairman of that.
Oh, okay.
Coordinating that.
That's all right,
And
cool. That's
I think
perfect.
on their website, they have
Okay.
Yeah.
some forms.
Round face.
All right,
Okay.
Ralph?
You did see my hand, good. I just wanted to, Ralph Tillis, 47 Village Hill Road, also a member of the Emergency Services Facilities Building Committee. The title's too long, but it is what it is. With respect to temporary dwelling unit there, another possibility may be a lease. We just don't, we haven't settled on anything really solid yet.
All right.
There are some other options with the property, and I was trying to work up an exhibit to go with your letter to the state, showing exactly what portions of the DOT land we'd like transferred back to us.
That would be outstanding, Ralph.
So I think that would help in the request. At least people would recognize how useless that area of land is to the DOT.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I look forward to your drawings. Before anybody else raises their hand, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
You're looking at me, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
And now I gotta explain to my wife why I hung up on her.